This is Earth, and this portion here is the Amazon. While it seems small compared to the rest of the planet, it plays a massive role in sustaining life through its participation in the water cycle and climate regulation. We will discuss this and the role of animal life to see the importance of ensuring connectivity between the Andes Mountains, the Amazon rainforest, and the Atlantic Ocean. A common metaphor for the Amazon is that of a lung, due to its exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide with the atmosphere, which is fundamental for all of us to breathe. However, the forest goes much further. Without it, a large part of South America would be a desert. But why? Let's start by noting that water accumulates mostly in the oceans. And while the sun's heat evaporates it, the wind must push that vapor inland for it to reach the land. Otherwise, water wouldn't reach the continents, vegetation would die, and vast areas would dry up. The Amazon comes into play here by generating those winds and retaining water on land. The idea is fascinating and is explained by a hypothesis known as the biotic pump. This hypothesis holds that forests are the main drivers of wind because tree transpiration generates vapor that condenses when it cools. Condensation lowers air pressure, creating vacuums that pull air from the oceans toward the continent. This process, driven by the 600 billion trees in the Amazon, produces strong winds of humid air, like flying rivers coming from the Atlantic, generating the clouds and rain that hydrate the continent. Now, within the continent, the Andes appear. They receive the water brought by the winds, help retain it with their vegetation, and distribute it through rivers that carry it back to the Atlantic to repeat the process. That covers the hydrological cycle. Now consider temperature. We know that carbon dioxide acts as a barrier that traps heat on Earth. This is the famous greenhouse effect. Well, trees counteract this by absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through photosynthesis. With this and underground carbon sinks, the Amazon removes over 1 billion tons of this gas annually, helping to counteract global warming caused by our overproduction of greenhouse gases. Furthermore, the Amazon also regulates temperature by creating clouds, as clouds, especially the bright white ones, reflect sunlight, preventing it from reaching the ground and overheating us. The lush Amazon forest stores vast amounts of water under its roots, and through plant evaporation and transpiration, it generates 7 times more vapor than the ocean, meaning many more clouds that reflect more sunlight. In short, regulating oxygen and carbon dioxide, maintaining temperature, and participating in the water cycle are vital. Managing winds and retaining water in the soil are functions the Amazon performs in integration with the Atlantic Ocean and the Andes Mountains. However, we still lack the full picture. What might be missing? Nothing less than animal life. We have all heard, for example, about the importance of birds in dispersing tree seeds. But every animal, plant, insect, and even fungi and minerals all play a vital role in the physical, chemical, and biological processes of Earth. Because from a broader perspective, Earth is a single system, an organism that regulates itself. Every entity that inhabits it is, therefore, a part of the complete machinery of this great planetary organism. And that is why the resilience of the whole depends on the participation of each one. Animals make a notable contribution through their movement and their unique metabolisms. But there is one quite particular animal capable of transforming the world in ways never seen before: mankind. The world is populated by distinct cultures with diverse practices and beliefs. Indigenous Amazonian peoples and Westerners are human groups that, like all others, are part of this great planetary organism. But the practices and beliefs of these two groups imply very different relationships between them and the rest of nature. What have their relationships with the Amazon been? Let us start with indigenous peoples. While there are over 400 different cultures inhabiting the jungle, they all share a common way of relating to nature. In their thinking and practices, they merge with the air, the water, the vegetation, and the animals. They recognize that their bodies and their very lives are interdependent with the jungle, acting as its allies. These are thousands of years of connection where life has been perfectly sustainable in all its diversity. and it would be a mistake to assume they succeed because they do not transform nature. There is evidence that a tenth of the Amazon's high ground was fertile soil created by them for their use. It is also known they influenced species selection for food and rituals. And in any case, millions of people once inhabited the forest. How have they achieved that balance? Through knowledge, indigenous education prepares the individual to live in harmony with the natural and social environment they are born into. They pass down respect for the universe's guardian spirits, leading to responsible resource use and an understanding that consumption affects the flow and distribution of energy in the global system. So their practices are consistent with these ideas, seeking to maintain the balance that their actions affect. For example, Amazonian indigenous groups used to relocate their settlements every 20 years, with the purpose of allowing nature to regenerate. And Westerners? Well, their relationship has been different. Instead of feeling like a being integrated into the whole, Westerners have conceived of themselves as separate. In their cultural construction process, they often create a distinct dichotomy between nature and society. They insistently turn to nature for the materials that allow them to create and sustain the space they built for themselves. The city. That is why the Amazon has been a source of timber and oil for them, even a hindrance to cattle ranching, ultimately destroying the balance between the jungle and its inhabitants. It has been an insufficient understanding of natural balance with undesirable consequences for life itself, and only now is the West beginning to understand the importance of growing their civilization in a sustainable way. That is precisely why we have started a great global ecological discussion. Today we say that a major step towards sustainability is ensuring the preservation of the Amazon and its connectivity with the Andes Mountains and the Atlantic Ocean. Because it turns out that all the ecological functions this ecosystem performs are not just a sum of trees and rivers. Not at all. The Amazon, the ocean, and the mountains must be an ecological continuum through which energy and information flow. Meaning that terrestrial and aerial rivers, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and other elements, sedimentary rock, and genetic information and cultural practices flow, so that all this together guarantees the diversity that gives greater resilience to the entire system. The work done so far has been very important, and much of the territory we need to integrate into sustainable models is covered. Governments have done their part to create protected areas and recognize indigenous territories, but we are still missing some areas between those patches to ensure connectivity. A connectivity that will not only strengthen environmental services, planetary resilience, and climate stability, but will give us the chance to work with indigenous peoples to rethink our relationship with the earth. What is the best way to relate to it? What does our true wealth consist of? What determines our future? This is an opportunity to inspire us all, leaders and citizens alike, to seek answers and make the right choices for ourselves. We are part of a vast global system, our planet Earth.